Welcome inside the RxMuscle studios here in New York for a Thanksgiving episode of Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, for the first time live on YouTube.com. I'm your host, Sadiq Faruqi. 30-minute question and answer with Dave Palumbo. Anything from training, diet, supplementation, questions on how to eat clean during Thanksgiving. It is all out here on the table. 30-minute question and answer with Dave Palumbo. Special thanks to our producer, Johnny Styles, for doing everything he needed to do to get us live here on YouTube as we now bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, this is the special Thanksgiving Day episode, first time ever on YouTube, and a special happy birthday shout-out you want to give to someone in the IFBB community.
Yeah, I hear Dexter Jackson is turning 70 today, and he's still placing second at the Olympian Winning Pro Show, so happy birthday, Dexter Jackson. No, Thanksgiving is an interesting time because it's one of these holidays that's like a one-day shot, and I like it. So you get a big injection of family and, camaraderie and love, and then you're right back to work the next day. Matter of fact, Black Friday, the following day, is so nuts that it's almost like an anti-holiday because everyone just runs to the store and tries to get all kinds of crazy deals. To be honest with you, I've never actually gone shopping on Black Friday, so I don't even know what all the hype and hoopla is about. But I hear they got some good deals out there. I don't know. Have you ever bought anything, Sid, on Black Friday?
I have actually, and there is one deal, a great deal, that you could take advantage of, Dave. Of course, when you eat on Thanksgiving, the first thing that you think about is, I'm going to go to the gym that following Monday. This is it. Now my weight loss, fat loss proposition begins, and you know what? We're here to help. Again, this show is brought to you by Species Nutrition. You can visit speciesnutrition.com during Black Friday all through the weekend and get 30% off Fiberlize, which is our fiber supplement, Aqualize, Lipolize, which is our daytime fat burner, and Somalize. So if you want to get a jump start on those New Year's weight loss goals, speciesnutrition.com, starting Black Friday, 30% off our weight loss supplements. As we now get to our questions. If this is your first time watching RxMuscle.com or us on our YouTube channel, this is our first live YouTube broadcast. We have the Muscle Central Forum on RxMuscle.com. That is where we have all our banter, all our analysis, all our live show coverage. That is where you want to be. And of course, we just had coverage of the NPC Nationals. The entire gallery is available on RxMuscle.com. We had an episode of Iron Debate yesterday with Tad the Diet Coach and Jose Raymond, the 212 champion from the 2015 Arnold Classic. All that and more is available on our YouTube channel and on RxMuscle.com. As we now start on the Muscle Central Forum on RxMuscle.com and say hello to BB50 Plus. Okay, Dave and Sid, this show is horrible. Enough said about that. Let's get to it. If I get my testosterone tested, what specific tests and values should I expect for a 50 plus natural guy?
What should you expect? I don't know. It's genetic. I would like to see you have an 800, free testosterone, or I should say total testosterone. That would mean that you're on a very high normal physiological level. The last time I got tested, I was 650, which is amazing from all the years of anabolic steroid use I had. Some guys never took an anabolic steroid, and when they're hit 40, their testosterone's 200, which stinks. So you don't know. You want it to be, I would say, over 450, over 500 would be preferable. If it's not, you might consider testosterone replacement. Speaking of going for testosterone tests, I got to mention this great new product. Bill Llewellyn, who wrote the books Anabolics, who's kind of like the Bible for anabolic steroids, came out with this great novel idea, a home testing kit for anabolic steroids. So you can actually test what you got at home and see if it's actually real and what's in there. And I love the idea so much that I contacted him and I told him, Bill, I want to be your exclusive distributor in the United States. And Bill and I have put together a partnership. I'll be probably after the holidays. I'll be probably another week or so. We'll be putting up these. It's called Roid Test, and it's a home testing kit. You can test a variety of almost every single anabolic steroid known to man, and there's a color chart. It'll tell you which one you got, and there's even two specific separate tests you can test for Anavar and Winstrol and Anadrol to really confirm that what you got is what you got. And I think it's the most brilliant idea that I can remember in the last 20 years coming out. And it's a great Christmas present. So guys, stay tuned. It will be on DavePalumbo.com. I'll be selling it exclusively. It's called Roid Test. If you want to test what you got at home and see if you got what's real, this is the thing for you. So it sprung a little reminder in my brain there when you mentioned testosterone testing.
Our producer, Johnny Styles, has informed me that we have a tidal wave of questions coming through on our YouTube channel. Again, if this is the first time you're watching us here on RxMuscle.com, we thank you, first of all, welcome you. This is our weekly 30-minute question and answer format with Dave Palumbo. We have a whole variety of shows. We have our debate show, Iron Debate, which we did yesterday with Tad the Diet Coach and Jose Raymond. As Dave, of course, is the show where you get to ask all your questions, all things training, supplementation, IFBB pros, and competition. We have The Fitness View, which is our women's fitness talk show. We have Heavy Muscle TV, which is our variety show. And then, of course, what am I forgetting here? Sports Flex, which we're going to be revamping very shortly. It's our live sports talk show, the first and only TV sports talk show in the bodybuilding and fitness industry. Dave, we have a special message from someone.
Hey, what about my show? Ask Steve Blackman. It's coming up next in the 2016, exclusively here at RxMuscle.com. Thank you.
We also have, which has really become our most popular draw, a show called Live With. Now, this is a show that we figured was going to be an interview with new and upcoming NPC competitors, but it quickly evolved because we started about 6-7 weeks before the Olympia. Quickly became a show where we do one-on-one interviews with some of the biggest A-listers from around the industry. So if you check our YouTube channel now, we have a whole row for Live With. We have Lou Ferrigno, Mr. 8-time Olympia Lee Haney as the two most recent. That's one you want to check out, as well as we have another special message, Dave.
Don't forget my special show, Ask the Guru, the one true guru, George Farah. That is also coming RxMuscle.com in 2016. Thank you.
Again, RxMuscle.com, the Muscle Central Forum is where you want to be. We are going to take the YouTube questions, but we do want to show love to our Muscle Central Forum users. Those are the ones who are with us year-round. So we will take a few more from the forum and then jump to our YouTube questions. Also, if you want to jump in, our Instagram handle is Instagram.com/official_RxMuscle, then our official Facebook page, and you can tweet your questions using hashtag AskDave. So go to NBAR Yosef. Dave, what do you know about the new 1-DHEA/1-Androstrene products coming to the market? Also, what happens after you stop taking them, and what should one do when they are done using them?
You know, I think they're going to wind up getting pulled off too. You know, they made a law recently. I think it was last year. I think it was in 2014, where they banned all the pro hormones and their analogs. And they made another little special law, because what happened was every time they would ban a pro hormone, okay, someone would come up with another pro hormone that would take its place. So they put into law this analog law. So as soon as someone comes out with a pro hormone, they don't have to wait like a year to ban it. They can ban it like in 2 weeks. So I think it's a really poor idea for guys to be coming out with that. Plus, you know what? It really takes the FDA and makes them start looking at our industry, you know, much more heavily, and puts a lot of heat on the industry. So to me, you know, we all know that the pro hormones are illegal. They're steroid derivatives, you know. So to me, I'm not really too fanatical about that. And what was the second part of the question?
Second part of the question was, what happens after you stop taking them? What should one do when they're done using them?
Gotcha. I got too caught up in the question. For especially the pro hormones, you know, you could actually use a real steroid PCT, which would be like an HCG and Clomid. But, you know, more people who use pro hormones tend to not be the guys that are going and buying, you know, illegal drugs. They're buying them from, you know, the health food store or online. So probably a product like my Testalize would be ideal, because it will block estrogen, it will block DHT, it'll raise natural testosterone levels. And obviously the key to really raising testosterone naturally, the most efficiently, is to inhibit estrogen and flush extra estrogen out of the body. And that's what Testalize does. 3 pills twice a day. I would take it for at least 8 weeks, and I think you'll get some really nice results. And probably when you go to the doctor and get your testosterone checked, it'll actually be higher than it was prior to taking those pro hormones. So check that out. But once again, you can use a conventional PCT with HCG and Clomid if you wanted to as well.
Let's go to reliable source. Dave, your show stinks the internet out. I hear people speculate that George Farah doesn't actually prep the birthday boy, Dexter Jackson, and that the whole thing is a business arrangement. Do you think there's any truth in this, and how do you think the arrangement would work? Either way, Dexter usually lays it on thick when paying tribute to Farah. Makes me wonder.
That is not true. I am the one true guru, and I have done Dexter Jackson's prep, even though all my other competitors are doing very badly lately. This is not true. Dexter uses my program. I've talked to George about this, and I believe George. I think that George does give him diets and does send him advice. Whether Dexter listens or not is anyone's guess. Dexter's kind of a genetic freak, so it's kind of hard to tell. He's one of these guys that probably listens to 50% of what George says, which is, with his genetics, is plenty. So is George? Yeah, I think George is more of an advisor and helps keep Dexter's head straight. I probably beg to believe that Dexter probably, like I said, listens to maybe half of what he says.
We go to Monstro. Dave, what is it that you look for in the perfect ambassador for Species Nutrition to choose an athlete to your brand? What do you want and expect to do for the brand? That's the first part, so I'll let you answer that first.
Well, I think it's important that you know the science of the products, and you need to know why the products work. That you can't. To me, as an athlete, I always was very comfortable representing companies whose products I used and whose science I understood, because I would never use a product if I didn't understand the science of the product. If the science made sense to me, then I had no problem recommending it to people because I could explain why I used it. Hey, it does this, this, and this. I used Metrex back in the day when Connolly was first, had invented it, because it was the highest quality, protein on the market. Nowadays, there are better proteins out there. So you got to know the science of the product. That's important to me. It's also important that you have an online presence, because the best marketing tools are online now. So if you're not spreading the word of the science and how the products work and why you use the products online, then to me, you're not as valuable, unless you had, as maybe the guy who wrote an article in a magazine was, 10 years ago. That was a much more valuable person. Nowadays, no one reads magazines. Everyone's online. So I want you to be able to not only understand the product, but be able to spread the word. You don't have to be a pro bodybuilder. You don't have to be the best bodybuilder out there, but you have to be a person who's willing to tell people about the great, aspects of our products. And, I wish I can clone myself 500 times, but since I can't, I need to, train people so that they, number one, understand the science of the products. Number two, they actually carry them out. They train, they work out, they eat right, they look good. And then number three, that they tell other people about it. So I think that's the truth with any company. I think most companies out there want someone who's going to be able to, who likes the product, who uses the product, and is going to go and tell other people about the product.
His second part is IGF versus HGH and IGF versus insulin. What is the best choice for cutting and best for bulking?
Well, the only drug in that list that will, burn body fat is growth hormone. Growth hormone directly metabolizes fat. Okay, it has a fat burning effect. It does the opposite of insulin. Insulin is a fat storage hormone, so you certainly wouldn't want to take insulin when you're trying to burn fat, because it stores fat. Okay, IGF-1 has an insulin-like effect in that it drives nutrients into the muscle cells. However, it doesn't store nutrients as fat. So IGF-1 would be considered a neutral, hormone. It's not going to really burn fat. It's not going to store fat. It might amp your metabolism a little bit because of the fact that it has a muscle-building effect. So growth hormone, best fat burner. IGF-1 is the best muscle builder if you get real IGF-1, because the IGF-1 component is what builds muscle even in GH. When you take growth hormone, the liver degrades the growth hormone, and then IGF is released, and that's what builds the muscle. And insulin is a fat storage hormone. So you might build some muscle because it drives nutrients into the muscle cells, but you're much more likely with insulin to store body fat.
We'll take a couple of more from the Muscle Central forum again on RxMuscle.com. If this is the first time you are watching us, we welcome you. This is our first live YouTube broadcast. Thank you to Johnny Styles, our producer, doing an excellent job as always. We go to Danny Almeida. Dave, what are your thoughts on stem cell shots to rejuvenate injuries? Would you or have you considered stem cells for yourself, and did it help? Lastly, do you have any quick Craig Titus stories you can share?
It's so ironic that he asked this question, because I was just in Florida and I ran into another fellow top-level bodybuilder by the name of Harold Cherry. If any of you guys remember Harold from back in the day, I used to compete with him in the 90s. And Harold had bone on bone in his knees. He was going to need 2 knee replacements. And, he's a young man, and they don't like to usually do joint replacements on young men. And he went to this guy in Florida, in Fort Myers area, which is where I have my house with Amanda, and the guy did stem cells into his knees. I'm like, and he said within 3 months afterwards, he was able to squat again. He has no pain. And I was like, give me the guy's number. And I actually went for a consult when I was down there right for the Nationals before I drove over to Miami. And I met with the guy, and I might get it done on my shoulders. It's very expensive. It's anywhere from like $5,000 to $7,000. They take stem cells out of your fat, because there's stem cells in your fat. Of course, I have no fat on my body, so they can't do that for me. What they also do is they kind of bore into the iliac crest, which is basically your pelvis, your pelvic bone, right? They go right through your glute into your pelvis. They bore out a little bit of bone marrow from there, and they can isolate the stem cells from there. And then they do PRP, which is platelet-derived. It's a platelet. They spin your blood down. They get the growth factors out of there. And they combine that together and they inject it into your joints. And then every 4 weeks for the next 8 weeks, they'll do 2 follow-ups. So they'll do PRP into your joint, because the PRP is basically the growth factors that tell the stem cells to grow. Once they put the stem cells in there, they'll last for 4 months, but they want to keep a stimulus on them so they keep growing. So supposedly, I haven't had it done, obviously. Harold did. He said he had great results on his knees. Supposedly, it'll build a little lip of cartilage on all that, like, bone on bone, and kind of keep the surfaces lubricating better. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do it. I might do it in February. If I do, I'm going to videotape the whole thing, because the doctor told me I can do it, and I'll put it online, and you guys can, determine for yourself if you might want to do it. I'm sure we could set up a whole little special deal down in Florida there. If we send a lot of people down there, we can get a discounted rate. So I don't know. I'm going to find out if they work. Harold Cherry tells me he's convinced they work. His legs look great, so I have to believe that something helped him down there. Now, as far as Craig Tice, that's probably another whole show, so I don't want to go into a whole show. But needless to say, Craig Titus has had some pretty crazy parties over the years, or he did. Now he's in jail, obviously.
Let's go to Spawny versus Batman. Dave, your show sucks so bad, I'd rather ask Sid my question. Nobody should ever do that. My question is, I notice after I do cardio, low impact, my testicles shrink, but after a few hours, they go back to normal. Is that because I'm producing more testosterone during that time period? Also, can you mix your BCAA with alkaline water?
You can mix the BCAA with alkaline water, but there's probably citric acid in the BCA formula, because it's to preserve it, and that will acidify the water, so it's probably not going to really help you. But you can do it. It's not going to negate the effects of it or anything like that. The first part of the question was,
why does his testicles shrink during cardio?
I just went bike riding the other day. It was 33 degrees or 34 degrees here in New York. And I had all my equipment on, and I had all my cold weather stuff on. I went out. It wasn't too bad. It was very windy. When I got back and I took my clothes off to take a shower, I was convinced I had no testicles left. They were gone. They were up inside my abdominal cavity. What happens when you exercise a lot of times is the testicles do rise up, and to get out of the way, so to speak. And blood supply to them decreases, because the blood supply is now in your muscles. That's very normal. Usually, when you wake up in the morning, they're dropped low. Once again, when you exercise at high intensity, especially in the cold, they will retreat up a little bit. So they move. They move. They have a brain of their own.
We're going to skip to our Facebook page. If you are not following us on Facebook, it is facebook.com/rxmuscle.com, all one word. Dave, this guy always brings a poem for us. So you ready for this one? It's from Rob Starr. Hickory dickory dock, the barbell was covered in chalk. The rep struck one, the lift was done, 'cause my knees got vapor lock. Hashtag Simpsons, hashtag Joe Namath. Very nice. I find after watching many natural men's bodybuilding shows, they always lose their fullness in the chest area while dieting, and it appears to be the weakest body part on stage. How do you prevent this from happening? And I hate this show as much as I hate that you guys never announce the winners at the end of the show anymore.
Sid, you got to start announcing the winners.
I will do that.
Okay. As far as, losing your chest, first of all, and I've heard this over the years, a lot of guys think they lose muscle while they diet. I mean, unless you're starving yourself to death, you're probably not losing muscle, okay? More than likely, you don't have as much muscle as you think you had. And I've seen this in a lot of competitors. They think because their legs are big, circumference-wise, before they start dieting, that their legs are big. And then when they diet all the fat off them, they realize they're not that big, okay? And that goes with chest, it goes with back. So what you got is what you got. A lot of natural competitors have trouble building upper chest for some reason, because it's just not an area that gets, massive by nature. So steroids really, I find that anabolic steroids, the things that they improve the most on bodybuilders is upper chest. They improve back width and thickness tremendously. I mean, that the number one thing, if you look at Ronnie Coleman before he ever took an anabolic steroid when he first turned pro, he was like all front quads, arms, and no back, not the back he had at his heyday, that's for sure. But Ronnie did have a good chest, so naturally he just had a good chest, but his chest got way better, his back got really good. I think it's just it's a genetic thing. It's hard to push a lot of weight with that upper chest muscle. It's kind of like it's not really meant to overload. The mid-pec is the part of the pectoralis muscle that's designed at handling heavy loads in the gym or in life in general. So you'll see a thicker middle chest or lower chest, but you won't see that upper pecs. I found, at least when I first started, that was the hardest thing for me to get to grow, was that upper inner pecs. But once again, there's a genetic component to that as well.
If this is the first time you're watching us here on Ask Dave, what we do is, for the best overall question of the show, we give away species products. Now, generally, we've been going with Nitrolize, so this is what we're going to do. For the best overall question, you get Species Pre-Workout by Nitrolize. Now, Dave, before we proceed with the best I hate, and again, for those who are just joining us for the first time, one of the inside jokes of this show is that if you like this show, don't text in or call in telling us that you love the show. Tell us that you hate the show. Furthermore, tell us why you hate the show and what you would rather be doing than watching this show. Dave, what should we give away for the best I hate this show today?
I think we're going to give away a macadamia nut oil so that you make your turkeys very healthy and your Thanksgiving and your Christmas dinners very healthy this year, as opposed to using all that terrible, horrible, bad fats.
Let's skip over to our Instagram handle real quick and go to Hoodman521. This show is as bad as Donald Trump's history lessons. Have you thought about bringing on a younger host of the Heavy Muscle Radio Show to offset the old guy's views on things in today's bodybuilding? Perhaps Boston Lloyd.
I tend to not like the younger gen. No, I'm just kidding. I think that the viewers don't want to. While Iron Debate would be a show I would bring, different types of people on. Heavy Muscle Radio is kind of us old guys talking about what we think the industry is all about, what our insights into the industry are, our analysis of shows, our insights into life. As my dad used to say all the time, he hated watching childhood stars on TV and in interviews because they have nothing to say. Because they haven't lived enough life. So, Heavy Muscle is Heavy Muscle. Once again, the other shows that we bring in live with Iron Debate, we try to bring in a wide variety of people who have opinions and who people might want to be on the show. Contact me, because if you have a strong opinion about something and you think you might be interesting, I'll vet you.
Let's go to Steedy86. Dave, this show sucks more than Jimmy the Bull directing a Michelle Lewin photo shoot and trying to get us to appreciate her inner beauty while making her wear Santa pants. That's good. And that shows that you watch us. My question is about post-workout nutrition. If you're using cyclic dextrin for an inter-workout shake, does that make something like Dextro's post-workout pointless and taking in way too much carbs in a short period?
Once again, carbs don't build muscle. The only reason we take in carbs post-workout is to replace glycogen stores, okay? If you're taking an intra-workout shake with a cyclic dextrin, which is a good source of, intra-workout type of nutrition if you need it, you shouldn't really be too depleted, because you're feeding the muscle what you're drinking while you're doing the training session. So post-workout, you really just have to worry about, protein, because that's what builds and repairs muscle. That's the signal. If you're an endurance athlete who's cycling for 50 miles, not only do you need a pre-workout, you need an intra-workout, and you need the post-workout, because when you get off that bike, all those whatever cyclic dextrins, sugar, whatever you drank intra-workout speaking, you'll have to still replace all the depleted glycogen, because you can't possibly drink enough to sustain what you're using up in the workout. As a bodybuilder, however, we probably only use 30, 40 grams of carbs during our workout. So if you have a pre-workout shake, okay, you really don't need intra-workout, but if you have the intra-workout, you probably don't need as many carbs at your post-workout. So you got to kind of balance it out. Don't think that just there's a knee-jerk, because you can make up a shake for every minute of the day. You can have a upon waking shake. You can have a before the bed shake. You can have it in the middle of the night shake. You can have a bathroom shake whenever you go to the bathroom. So, once again, people are so caught up in all these different shakes that they're not even taking a good multivitamin, multimineral. They're not taking an essential fatty acid supplement. They're not taking a good fiber supplement. And this irks me a little bit, because I know you guys out there want to make improvements. You want to grow muscle. You want to burn fat. You want to make improvements. You want to get stronger. And you're doing all the wrong things. You're worried about the wrong things. You're worried about pre-workouts and intra-workout shakes. And you're not even taking the basic bare nutritional necessities that your body needs to initiate all the chemical reactions in your body.
We now go to our YouTube questions, and I'm going through them right now, and we might have to do a little censoring job. I see one about rather diving into a pool of AIDS than watching the show, something about gangbang, another question about gangbang, so I think we're going to stay away from those ones. Let's see what we could ask here, which is remotely family friendly. Yeah. Yes, Amanda Palumbo is Dave's wife. They are related. Camel Crew is here. That's great. Good to have you guys here from the Middle East. Wow.
I'm waiting for my camel.
These I hates
I'm waiting
are.
for my Camel Crew shirt. Bader Badai told me he's going to make Camel Crew clothing, and I'm waiting for it because I told him I would wear them.
That would be a killer hit. The Camel Crew collection available online.
Go.
Here we go. All right. Brandon Mady. I'm not going to read that. I hate. What is your opinion on the best way to break through muscle gaining plateaus?
There's different reasons why we hit plateaus and we can't grow, okay? Sometimes we've been on drugs too long. Sometimes we're not taking enough drugs. Sometimes, we're not eating enough. But if you're maximizing everything, you're training right, you're sleeping right, you're eating about as much food as you can get down and more than that, and you're still not growing, you know what I tell my guys to do? Cut back your food. I cut the guy's protein right down in half. Sounds counterintuitive, like you wouldn't want to do that, but you know what? I do that for a week or two sometimes, and then I put the protein back in, and guess what? They start growing again. So sometimes our bodies are pretty slick, and when you start forcing it to do something it doesn't want to do, it stops, it resists, it slows the metabolism down, or it'll speed the metabolism up to burn up this extra food. So what you got to do is do exactly the opposite of what your logical intelligence would tell you to do, and it's worked for me. I've had guys, I'm giving them so much food they can't eat another morsel of food, they can't drink another shake. I cut their food in half. A week later, I put it back, and boom, they start growing again.
This question from Hercules E. Dave: what was your first ever show? How did you place, and what was the prep like?
It was the worst prep of my life. I said I would never compete again after that because it was way too painful and cruel and inhuman punishment, it felt like. And, of course, a week after the show was over and I started eating again, I forgot all about that, and that was over. But I was 160 pounds. I was training for 11 months. I was 168 pounds. I was a middleweight at the Natural New York City in 1990. I placed 6th place. I did not get a trophy. I was very upset with that. But all the guys backstage, even though I was probably the leanest and thinnest guy at 5'10" in the middleweight class, they all were very, I guess they really respected the conditioning I brought. Because I probably had striated glutes. They were little tiny glutes, but they were striated. And but I just wasn't meant for the middleweight class, obviously. And it was a good experience. I got bit by the bug, if you may. And I vowed the next time I would come back, I would be at least 200 pounds, and I did compete 2 years later at 200 pounds. So once again, everyone remembers their first show. It's like your first time, and it was, like I said, it was a good experience. My sister was there, and we had a lot of fun that weekend, and I'll never forget it, although I would have liked to have gone home with a trophy. Because when you do your first show, winning a trophy is the most important thing in the world.
Let's go to Hard Granite. Is it easier to build upper body if you have the lower body and you don't have the upper body? Is it easier to build the upper body? It's like a riddle.
I always had great legs. My upper body was the slowest to grow, and it took a long time for it to catch up because of that. And I've seen people that say, well, I got a weak upper body and I have good legs, I'll just stop training my legs. Well, then you have nothing, So never give up your strong body part. Always train your strong body part. Look at Tom Platz, Paul DeMeo. That's your trademark. Never let your best body part decrease because you want the other part of your body to grow more. That doesn't mean that what I like to do is I prioritize. A lot of people tell me, hey, I got a weak leg. Should I train them twice a week? I said, no, train them less. Instead of training them once a week, train them every 8 or 9 days. Sometimes with weak body parts, they don't recover well. So what I recommend to people is train them hard when you train them, but then give them more rest. And a lot of times you'll see a spurt in growth because of that.
Daniel Duma says, I'm using melatonin, doesn't really help. I was curious if there was something else.
For sleep, I'm assuming.
For sleep, yeah.
Well, I found that melatonin works a little bit, and it works pretty good when you're traveling, especially with jet lag. But it works really good when you combine it with GABA, at least 2,000 milligrams before bed. So, Somalize, which is my Species Nutrition nighttime sleep aid and fat burner, is terrific. I know people that use it all year round. I use it all year round. It combines the melatonin with the GABA, because what the GABA does is it enables you to fall asleep. It relaxes you. And then the melatonin, once you're asleep, keeps you in a deeper sleep. So you get a better quality of REM sleep. So once again, together, you'll get a better restful night's sleep. One or the other, usually something's missing. Either you don't stay asleep or you can't fall asleep.
Let's go to SHWGCT. I hate this show so much. I'd rather fight Anderson Silva while George Farah says to him that his legs are tight. Question, doesn't the keto diet put an unnecessary stress on kidneys and your liver?
The answer to that is no. And I'd like to see the science why they would. I mean, you're eating protein and fat, and what's the difference if you're eating carbs? Now, how are the carbs going to make your liver and kidneys perform better? If you're going to say that, you might as well say a high protein diet puts a strain on the kidneys, and that's not true. If your kidneys are functioning at optimal levels, they can handle tons of protein, they can handle fats, they can handle carbs, they can handle anything. It's when people have high blood pressure for 15, 20 years and they damage their kidneys. Now the kidneys aren't efficiently filtering as they were when you were younger. So now this high protein diet is harder for your body to clear. And that's why they recommend you cut your protein back when your kidneys are damaged. It's not that the protein's damaging your kidneys, it's that the high blood pressure damaged your kidneys. Now they can't efficiently break down the protein as much. But while your kidneys are functioning at optimal levels, really no diet out there is going to be damaging to them or the liver. Okay, for that matter.
Let's go to Iron Athlete Jim. He wants to know the benefits of apple cider vinegar. When is the best time to take it and how much?
I am drinking some right now in my glass right here. Bragg's apple cider vinegar is apple cider vinegar with the pulp still in it. We call it with mother. They say mother. Mother is the pulp of the apple. And it has a alkalinizing effect on the body. That is, it neutralizes acidity. I recommend it to people who have acid reflux, and it cures it instantly. 1 tablespoon in 8 ounces of water, you drink that down, your acid reflux is gone. It also has an alkalinizing effect long-term on the body. So I usually drink it a couple times a day just for detoxification and alkalinization purposes. I like the taste of it. It doesn't bother me, but you don't want to drink it straight. You want to definitely put it in at least 4 to 6 to 8 ounces of water and drink it. You optimally 3 times a day. And you don't want to drink it while you're eating meals. You want to drink it in between the meals, okay? And that's your best bet. Do you have to do it all the time? No, I do it in spurts. I'll do like a bottle or 2 in a row, and then I'll take off maybe a month or 2, and then I'll do it again. But if I always have it available, so if I do get any kind of acid reflux, I do take that immediately.
Once again, you're watching Ask Dave on RxMuscle.com. If this is the first time you're watching us here on the YouTube channel, this is our first ever broadcast live on YouTube. We welcome you to sign up on the Muscle Central forum on RxMuscle.com. That's where we have all of our discussion, all of our analysis, all the talk. That is where you want to be if you're a fan of the bodybuilding world. And of course, full photo gallery from the 2015 NPC Nationals from this past weekend. There, all our videos, all our interviews, all these shows that we have, it is on RxMuscle.com as well as the YouTube channel. And you can have all the shows sorted out by rows, our live with one-on-one interview format. Of course, this show every week, generally on Wednesday afternoons, 30-minute question and answer with Dave Palumbo. And of course, Iron Debate, which is our talk show or CNN Crossfire style debate show, debating all things in the bodybuilding world. Dave, we have a question on eating clean during Thanksgiving. Do you have any healthy holiday dessert ideas?
I actually do. I'm absolutely taken back, first of all, by the Quest protein bar, the pumpkin pie flavor one that they sent me. I don't know if you guys have tasted it. It's limited till the end of December. I think they have them everywhere. They have them in 7-Elevens. They sent us about 4 boxes, and everyone in the office has been devouring them. I think it's the best flavor they have. I love pumpkin flavor. I don't think it should be just a holiday flavor. I think it should be an all-the-time flavor. Anyway, so I was coming up with this idea. While I don't have pumpkin pie protein powders, I do have a terrific protein pudding called Protolize. If you take the vanilla Protolize, and I'm going to do a video on this dessert recipe. If you take the vanilla pudding Protolize and you mix pumpkin pie spice into it, and you could even fold in some pumpkin puree, you could make the most amazing pumpkin pie out of this stuff because it has the consistency that will hold it together. You don't have to use milk. You don't have to use any of those crappy ingredients. You don't have to put sugar in there. And I'm going to put this recipe together for you, and I'm going to videotape it. You guys are going to love it. But just think about it. Protolize, vanilla flavor. You could use the cookies and cream as well, but I think it works better with vanilla because you can really make it taste like pumpkin. You put the pumpkin pie spice, the pumpkin pie puree in there, you fold it all in and mix it together, and you put that in the pie crust, and I'm telling you, that's the healthiest pumpkin pie you'll ever eat.
Let's go to Frank Semino 76. Dave, what are your opinions on the rest week for bodybuilders? I keep finding myself having some new ache or pain every other day. Left tendonitis, elbow pain, knee pain, back, etc. I'd love to hear your input.
I absolutely hate taking off long stretches of time from the gym. It's psychologically damaging for me. But you know what? Every time I've ever taken a week off from the gym, I always come back stronger and I grow better. Okay, so there must be something to taking off time. I was never very good at it over the course of my career. I would, get done with a show and I'd be back in the gym Monday morning, just because I love to train. But every once in a while, if you feel burnt out, it's not a bad idea to take off a week. Some people take off 2 weeks. I find that if you take off too much time, you don't want to go back. Even 3 days here and there. To me, 3 days off from the gym is a great. I take the weekends off now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And when I get back in the gym on Monday, I'm strong. My joints don't hurt as much. I feel recovered. I feel refreshed. And I feel mentally refreshed, which is one of the most important things. I think a lot of guys get mentally stale because what happens is you start to over-deplete your neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters that cause the muscles to fire, but also cause the brain cells to communicate. So when you run out of those, not only do you feel weak in the gym because the muscles can't fire properly, but you feel mentally weak as well, and you just don't want to go. When you feel like that, that means you're in a state of overtraining. That's the time to take at least a week off.
Let's go to Farabi_K. I hate this show so much because of Dave's suit and Sid's radio voice. I have no idea what you're talking about. My question is, when is the best time to have a cheat meal? Is it if it's only once a week? Some say last meal of the day before legs or back day. Some say post-workout or last meal on legs or back day.
I don't like to set it up necessarily before a certain day in the gym. It doesn't matter to me, really. But I always tell people to make it one of the last meals of the day, and I'll tell you why. Because if you do it early in the day, one of two things will happen. Either you will cheat the whole day because you're just going to be on that binge type of mentality, or you're going to have the cheat meal early in the day and you're going to be so full you're not going to eat the rest of the day. So you're going to miss all your meals. So then it doesn't even become a cheat anymore. So make it one of the last meals of the day. You get home, you can watch some TV, and you can pass out and fall asleep, and you wake up the next morning, you're right back on the diet. So that, to me, is the most important. Some guys do like to have it the day before a big leg workout. To me, I don't, because I feel sluggish the next morning, usually. So, maybe 2 days before, or maybe the day after a big workout sometimes works well for me. So it's really up to you. It doesn't matter what day you have it on, but try to make it consistently the same day every week.
Hussein Ali wants to know what the best fish oil is to take, and is it better to eat after you train or make a shake or eat, then wait a little longer, then shake altogether? Which do you prefer for better results?
Which fish oil is the best? I think that you want to make sure you always use pharmaceutical fish oil to make sure the impurities like mercury are removed or anything like that might be in the PCBs. We make obviously a pharmaceutical grade fish oil supplement called Omega-Lyze, which not only has the fish oil in it, it also has the evening primrose oil, which is your omega-6 essential fats, as well as omega-7 palmitoleic acid, which is very good for insulin sensitivity and decreasing total body inflammation. So Omega-Lyze is a brainless, essential fatty acid supplement. You take that 3 pills twice a day, and it's like an insurance policy against your health. Now, the second part of the question I was a little confused with, Sid, because I really wasn't sure what he was asking me. Is it post-workout is he talking about?
Yeah, post-workout.
Post-workout, I like to do the post-workout shake, immediately after training. That's like usually 50 to 60 grams of whey isolate. usually anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of like a high molecular weight carbohydrate, like say my Carbolyze product, for instance. And then I like to wait maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours and then have my next meal. That's the ideal time frame.
Let's go. This is a long one right here. In the pursuit of aesthetics. I hate this show so much. I would rather play the same first level of Ronnie Kopp for eternity with the audio replaced by Sid clearing his throat, George Bulletproof Farah yelling, "You're gay," and Dave exclaiming, "Why cut back?" repeated with earbuds super glued to my ears with the volume on loud while fighting Rich Piana in a cage fight to the death after Boston Lloyd injected me with his 3cc per body part full body enhancement regimen, all while running 1G drip to lose body fat since I have metabolic damage and 10 IU insulin pre-workout for intense pump. Nitrolize. It's headed your way. I have what are some 3 to 5 tips that you would give a client of yours to be successful and make a comfortable living in the fitness industry? And he's put in parentheses ways to make money other than competing, side jobs like modeling, getting an agent, tips besides just trend and hard Anavar.
Probably the best way to make a living in the sport, and consistently, and this is into after you're done competing as well, is being a coach. And we were talking about this on Iron Debate last night. Coaches make good money. There's thousands and thousands of athletes now competing with all the new divisions between bikini and men's physique and the new classic physique and women's physique and bodybuilding and fitness. I mean, there's a million different divisions out there, and there's so many athletes that require coaches that the top tier coaches out there can't handle all the clients. So if you become a coach and you learn how to start helping people with contest prep and off season, you can make a good living for yourself, and you can still compete, and you can justify, hey, I'm competing now to push my business ahead. The problem is that if you don't educate yourself on how to, the science behind diet, the science behind off season, the science behind how to use performance enhancing drugs, then you're going to be a sucky coach, and people are going to find out that you stink, and they're not going to use you. You got to educate yourself. I give a course, and I'm not just saying this to plug my course, but I give a course, The Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru. It's a 10-hour course. I give it here in New York. I held it once in Australia. I'm giving it December 12th. I think there's still 1 or 2 spots available. You can sign up at davepalumbo.com. But I teach you everything. I teach you the science of diet. I teach you the science of supplements, the science of drugs, the science of site enhancement oils, the science of the last week of prep, the science of everything, so that when you leave this place, you will know how to do everything. And even if you don't remember everything, I give you a 90-page, almost 100-page manual of all my protocols, and it's basically my playbook. When you leave here, you will be a certified trainer in the sense that you will know why you're telling people to do things, and I guarantee you will become a great coach. If that's what you're passionate about, you make it your business to get to this course, whether it be this course or the next course. Educate yourself, become a good coach, and I guarantee you can make a living from your passion, and that's really what it's all about. We want to be able to do the things that we love and make our living from it.
Rob Starr, email us at sid@speciesnutrition.com. You will get macadamia nut oil. Given that it's Thanksgiving, we're going to be a little generous here. So Steedy86 and In the Pursuit of Aesthetics, email me sid@speciesnutrition.com. You both will win Nitrolize pre-workout. That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Reminder, next week, we are actually going to have a special guest, the biggest name to come out of the 2015 NPC Nationals, Sergio Oliva Jr. We're going to have him on live which is our one-on-one interview format show. So next week, keep it locked to RxMuscle.com on our social media for day and time. For Johnny Styles and Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. Have a good one.